Today I'm here to argue that From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout should not be discriminated as mere popular fiction. It deserves serious academic recognition. From Blood and Ashes is thematically rich, socially relevant work that deserves literary legitimacy due to its exploration of autonomy and institutional power and genre subversion. The novel critiques patriarchal standards along with religious institutions through where its protagonist struggles. It uses romance as a tool of empowerment and resistance, and it subverts fantasy genre. It subverts fantasy genre convictions in ways that provoke critical thought. So the main point will definitely be institutional power and female autonomy. Female autonomy is where, when in the book, Poppy is silenced due to her being the maiden. So in this stance, Poppy's role as the maiden exemplifies how institutions suppress female agency. So in this stance that we use for this problem, Jennifer L. Armentrout really takes it into accord where women are suppressed. They can't be anything else besides that. And they're supposed to just do what they're told on a daily basis. I still believe that even nowadays we deal with that just because women are still seen as the weaker gender in most cultures, if not all. The literary connections that really grab my attention between these would definitely be Sandra Gilbert's and Susan Gerber's concept of textual imprisonment. In this, they really go into detail about how a lot of books these days really do take a look at that, and they really just decide on how to portray that within these genres. Fantasy, is, depending on who you are, it's such a big thing. People critique it for its make-believe ideals and, the happily ever afters that everybody's after. They think it's just perfect. When in real life, in these books that people create, they don't create just 2 by 2 people. They make them very critical, make them struggle, go through trauma. I mean, often, all the time. Alrighty, second main point is going to be romance as resistance. So if we look into this really deeply, people will use anything to gain hope. And hope is one of the main power plays of this book. In the details, romance drives Poppy to question her reality, beliefs, and identity. And all of that just due to her falling in love with the guard turning out to be literally the opposite kingdom's prince, and all of that lovely stuff. So in connection to this, in Janice's Radway study, romance provides a space for women to explore autonomy, and it does. It creates an area where people can also find who they are while helping somebody else find who they are. And I think that is really well played in this book and how the author really plays it. Love, and then just the connection between it. Romantic elements do not diminish the literary wake. They almost deepen it. So, and the third main point I want to get across is subversion of fantasy tropes. So a lot of the time fantasy tropes are taken as something they're tropes, they're stereotypical, they're played by the rules, all of that lovely stuff. I believe with this, Jennifer L. Armentrout challenges and demonstrates traditional fantasy tropes and biases. So they're portrayed as righteous but revealed to be corrupt. Morality is not black and white. And I think that she really does play on this a lot. Just as you go on in the book, you get more into it and get even deeper into that kind of stuff. And just play on that. But I think with everything that comes along, she really does break patriarchal standards and destroys what people believe, even with just taking the main character as that way. She's very just, she built a hierarchy, but then broke it, essentially. And then built another one, and then broke that one. So you just never know within what stance, like even our democracy nowadays, like it can crumble with one piece out of place, one corrupt piece. And I mean, right now it's really corrupt. So, and common counter arguments. It's just romance. It's not serious literature. Well, literature is anything that can teach a lesson and can provide knowledge. Jennifer L. Armentrout really does show you lessons that even though you start out as this, even though you're told multiple times a day that you're a woman, you can't do anything, you can't be somebody, be better than who you are, it just turns into, you know, you believe it yourself. I mean, I think that if you're told something over and over again, you start to believe it. And I really think that's where she plays a part in it. But in conclusion, From Blood and Ash demonstrates a place that in the academic canon for nuanced handling of power, identity, and genre. And if we are able to take literature seriously, we can take this literature seriously, because it speaks directly to the question that define our age, who we are as people.